expert in tech, and I think a lot of the things I will be saying will probably be from the academic point of view and a bit more generic. So unlike the immediate past speaker that spoke more in depth from the industry, my line of thoughts might be more generic than that. So basically, I'll be looking at three specific things. So what is tech? Who is an expert? And then what are the possible steps to become a tech expert? Now, I said possible because there could be several ways to get into the same thing. So whatever I'm giving is not the holy grail. It's a possible way. Different people would have different paths to get to the same point. Yeah, tech is a short form of technology. And in terms of the definition, it's about the creation and use of technical means. And this is deals with the interrelation. Some of these technical means would deal with life, with society, with environment. And generally, when we talk of tech, we kind of deal with different subject areas. The pertinent subject areas are usually engineering, pure and applied sciences, industrial arts, and a few other areas that might be referring to tech. But more generally now, so yes, the use of tech could also refer to the use of science in the industry and engineering to invent useful things, to solve problems. Now, today, tech, it's a buzzword. And today, tech, it's more associated with information technology. We could expand it to information and communication technology. But the truth is, information and communication technology could also be linked to digital technology. So the perspective I'm coming from would be to say tech is anything digital today, starting from the apps on your mobile, like the previous speaker talked about, to even the digital hardware. There are lots of embedded systems today, either to track a prisoner or some other things. And even today, was it today that they had an election in Anambra, Nigeria, and you'd have INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, is even using technology to improve the acceptance of people in terms of the election results. So technology is becoming more widely used, and a lot of the technology today are centered around digital technology. Like one of my professors was talking about the aircrafts, and you find out a lot of the latest aircrafts have more of software than even the hardware. So you talk of the autopilot, talk of the auto navigation and all that, which are all software controlled than hardware controlled. Okay. So technology is anything that makes our life easier. But to be precise, we'll be looking at information technology or digital technology. So the other aspect is who is an expert? Generally, we say an expert is somebody trained in a specialized field. And so basically, an expert is supposed to be special. He's not supposed to be a common man, if I could put it that way. An expert is also supposed to be professional, and professionality comes with its ethics as well. And there are things that you should be able to do as a professional, and even there are things that you can do, but you wouldn't do because of the professional ethics. And the last but not the least is that an expert should be well informed about the field of practice. And this means that if you call yourself an expert, you shouldn't be an expert from the old age, if I can put it that way. You should be able to keep up with the trends in technology as an expert. And therefore, you should know about the latest technology in your field of endeavor and be able to use it. So basically, as an expert, you must be current in your field. So who do we refer to as an expert in technology or a technology expert? basically combining technology with an expert. So somebody that's a technology expert will be well informed about modern technologies. Most of these technologies are digital in nature, as well as being able to take advantage of this latest technology to optimize activities, either work-related activities, communication, social networking, and so on and so forth. So that's why I said my focus is a bit more generic, because we are not looking at an expert in the industry alone or an expert to make money, but in terms of using the way an expert will look at things, even at home, will be different from the person that is not an expert. So as a digital experts, we tend to have more of electronics or electronic gadgets, and we're kind of, if I can put it in terms of every aspect of our life kind of has something digital, either directly or indirectly, okay? And you'd find out that some people might even go to the extent of, okay, why don't I need a robot in my house, and the robot could help me do one or two other things rather than getting the kids to do it. So that could be seen in the acts of an expert. I don't know how many of us have heard about the 10,000 hours being what it takes to become an expert. I'm not too sure that would apply to the bootcamp the previous speaker talked about. But generally, to become an expert, there is this notion of, even if you know nothing about a field, if you're able to study for 10,000 hours, then you could become an expert. And I think this is very generic, because if you translate 10,000 hours into days or years, we'll be talking of about 10 to 20 years, okay? Now, Anders Ericsson actually proposed a theory in terms of being an expert. And he said, in most domains, I'm quoting him now, it's remarkable how much time even the most talented individuals need in order to reach the highest levels of performance, okay? And that the 10,000 hours is just a number that gives a sense of how long it might take to really be an expert in any field, not just technology. I think it's a bit shorter now with technology. We might not be talking of 10 or 20 years, but the truth is, what the emphasis is that you need time to learn any technology you want to use. It's not always as easy as saying, oh, I can learn it in 5 minutes. No, you must spend time to learn any technology or to be an expert in the use of any technology. And I think that's the emphasis, that the 10,000 hour rule is not really a rule, and it's not an exact number. The amount of time it takes to be an expert could vary from field to field, but we're saying that on the average, for us to see you as an expert, you must be working around that 10,000 hour rule. And I think a lot of the educational system is built around this 10,000 hour rule, because if you look at our educational system in Nigeria, for example, we talk of the 6334, and that's talking of close to 20 years to be a graduate, in which we can see you as an intermediate expert in the field of knowledge you've chosen. So becoming an expert is not merely about doing something over and over for 10,000 hours. It's very important to do the right thing the right way, okay? The right way is more important to reduce the 10,000 hours probably to even 10 hours, okay? So somebody might spend 10,000 hours to become an expert, but another might spend 10 hours if he's able to get a better and faster way to do it, okay? Now, looking at what does it mean to become an expert in tech, becoming an expert in tech simply means being able to be a top performer in the tech space. Generally, it means being able to do what a few people can do. I remember in those days when we were still in school, and we talk about CCNA, CCNP, and then how many CCIEs do we have in Nigeria or in the world and all that, and you'd be like, wow, very few. That means those are very few experts in their fields. And you could go to other fields, from networking to programming to a lot of other things, cloud computing. So we're saying that being an expert means that you have to be in the top 5% or top 10% in the tech space, okay? And it really requires some time to be spent. In summary, to become an expert, you require a few things. Now, I've listed 3 here. There's another view that I'll be looking at. But generally, education could help you to become an expert. And in terms of education, education could come in different forms. You could be taking technology-related classes, which could come online. So you could go for boot camp, like it's been previously said. You could also do some self-learning as well, depending on how fast you learn. There are lots and lots of things online you could learn from today, either going to Udemy or to, there are lots of MOOCs that are available that you can learn from to gain knowledge in any area of technology that you want. And the traditional ways to get a technology-related degree, that makes you maybe an intermediate expert, not really a top expert. So you could get a bachelor's, a postgraduate diploma, a master's, a PhD, even become a professor in the field. But the truth is, the academia, the view of things in academia could be different from the view of things in the industry. So not just getting the academic degree is important, but also getting the certifications. The IT professional certification will help you improve your resume. You could also take professional certifications, and lots of them. We'll talk about how you can focus on what you want to do. And then you could take online training courses. There are lots of free online training courses that could help you improve your skills in IT. The last part is to apply for technology-related jobs. So you can do this by volunteering your skills in technology companies for free. So when you're volunteering, you're saying, oh, I want to learn. I'm not asking for any money. And you find out, actually, in terms of our educational system, you have some of these things embedded, like the sideways that a lot of students from engineering or science background go for in 400 level. It's about volunteering your skills and learning more of the industry-related skills. You should also be able to stay in touch with the trends of technology. And searching for technical or technology-related jobs online would also help in making you an expert, because experience on the job could improve your skills. So becoming an expert or a tech expert it's really a possible task. It's not an impossible task, but it requires time and energy to master the basics before you become an expert, okay? And here we'll be looking at 10 generic steps that you might want to look at when you want to maybe venture into a particular area of information technology or becoming a technology expert. The first one is you have to decide to start. Starting is not always easy, especially if you're changing fields. And you have to decide to start, and you have to really wake up and say, okay, yes, I want to move from being a front-end developer to a back-end developer, or I want to move from being an academic to the industry. And deciding on that decision is the first step to become an expert, okay? Once you've decided to start, then other things can follow. Now, the second thing, or the second step to become an expert, is for you to pick a niche, okay? You would have to decide which part of technology you want to focus on. The truth is, you can't be a jack of all trades and master of all. So to become an expert, you're a master of a particular field, and then you need to decide, okay, which of this field, do I want to go into mobile apps? Do I want to be a front-end app developer? Do I want to go into hardware development? So these are niches that you have to choose while thinking of becoming an expert, okay? So to do that, you need to know the purpose of your going into tech space and be passionate about it. I think you can't overemphasize the issue of passion, because There are times you're down with one or two challenges and your passion keeps you going. Okay. Number 3, I think I'm running out of time, but I think I'll make it. Is it's also important to get a mentor in the field you're going to. There's hardly any field you'll be going to that there are not people already in the field. And therefore, getting a mentor helps you to understand the challenges in the area and probably know the pitfalls and trying to avoid them. Okay, so you need to get yourself a caring mentor. And if you get a good mentor, then the mentor would guide you properly in the field to become an expert like your mentor. Okay, but you should also avoid unnecessarily disturbing your mentor. You must find time to maybe either book appointments or agree on times that you communicate. So you shouldn't expect that you can just bump into your mentor anytime at your convenience. So that's very important in terms of mentorship. Number 4, it's about exploration. Exploration is something very important when you move to a new field. You'd have to do lots of self-reading. You'd have to explore different options. You'd have to keep in touch with the latest in the field. And that's all about exploration. So it's not every problem you have that you go straight to your mentor. You'd have to explore on your own and look for solutions. It's only when you think getting the solution is becoming or taking too long that you probably get back to your mentor. So you have to do a lot of things on your own by exploring the solutions to different challenges you would face. Searching. Here I say googling is a skill, and googling is generally about searching online. There are lots and lots of solutions you can find online by simply putting your query into a search engine. And then it's not just about searching, but knowing the right keywords to use when you're searching. And I know searching itself it's an area of that you'd have to know what sort of expressions you can use that gives you the answers faster. Okay. Number 6 is yes, you have to make a scale of preference. You need to look at, okay, what is important. You always have to start with what is important. Okay, because there are many components to any tech skill, but practicing them all does not produce the same results. So the question you need to ask yourself in terms of starting with what is important is what 20% of these skills I want to get or I want to learn will give me 80% of the results I want. And I think that's the kind of focus in the boot camps that we're looking at a little time and want to give a maximum, maximum impact. So it always starts with what is important. Number 7 is getting a learning model. Learning could be different depending on your background or your character. So getting a learning model is about knowing what best works for you. For some people, audio files work for them. For some, they have to see it visually. For some, it is a texture that is better for them. So you need to know what works for you. Is it audio? Is it video? Is it physical interaction? You need to know how best you learn when you want to become an expert. To become an expert, you must be a problem solver, because in being an expert, as you're growing in the field, you face several challenges, and you must be a good problem solver to be able to tackle all the challenges and get to the peak of the field. This should be number 9. And that's an error there. That should be number 9. In number 9, we're saying that you should concentrate on one thing at a time. Concentrate on one thing at a time. Yes, as human beings, we can multitask, but you need to avoid distractions. You need to avoid diversions. Focusing on your goal is very important to become an expert. Else, you find out that you are master of all, you are jack of all trade, but master of none if you are not able to concentrate. I have 1 or 2 more. Yeah. The next one is to evolve. Evolving in this case is saying you must be flexible. If you are a Java expert and the in thing now is to go into Python, then you must take up that challenge and go into Python, not saying, oh, Java is all and I can only stay with Java. No, you must be very flexible to take up any technology that can help your development, okay? So learning to evolve is about not being rigid and not being static. The last but not the least is to believe in yourself. Believing in yourself is that you can always break it. Not breaking it means that nothing is impossible, okay? Nothing is impossible, so everything is possible. And even when people say, oh, this thing is so difficult, I've not been able to do it. Once you have that belief that, yes, I can do it, even if nobody has ever done it, then you are likely to become an expert in your field. And I think with those 10 steps or more, 10 generic steps, I believe anyone, irrespective of the level of education, either with a college degree or without a college degree, can become an expert in any field. Now, to conclude, I'm concluding with this slide that talks about two things that are very important in any career path: exploration and being consistent. Exploration and being consistent. You can't overemphasize these two things in making progress in your career and getting to the very peak. So here I say exploration is king, while consistency is the queen. So they help you to be able to navigate through unfamiliar terrains. And the consistency is about being able to learn. No matter how old or how young, you should never stop learning. And with continuous learning, you can always get to the peak of your